Hello everybody. November already. Whoever pops in first, if you could let me know if you can hear me, that would be fantastic. I forgot to change out of my comfy clothes. Hi Diane, can you hear me okay? You know the drill. Are you going to be making this with us today? Hi Annie. Annie, you're sewing along with me today, correct? We have some stuff to talk about before we get started. Now this one, there's so many different things we can do depending on what you're using as your adhesive. Actually use some white out on my book. Sound is okay? Coco saying hi. Perfect. Okay. So as people come on, I'm going to ask Annie, will you be using glue or double-sided tape? And same with you, Diane. Are you using double-sided tape or will you be using glue? I used to use glue with this one. I used to use, this glue's really good for making it, fabric tack, but that was when I was on a domestic machine and you have to wait for the glue to dry before you can sew. So I'm using double-sided tape because it doesn't have to dry, but I know double-sided tape doesn't work for everybody. Awesome. Annie, your machine can handle the double-sided tape because we're going to be sewing right through it. I would suggest having on my 1541, I don't have to worry about it, but if you're worried about it gumming up your needle, if you have just like a little alcoholic wipe just to be able to clean your needle, that works. Hi, Rhonda. Rhonda, are you doing this one with us today? Tape thing, yeah. Oh, that's right, Annie, you do have an industrial. Who am I confusing you with? That's good. You can sew through it. Use the tape. Because then you'll be able to sew along. Anybody that is using glue will have to let the glue dry. Okay, so I got Annie is sewing along. Diane is sewing along. Oh, I'm thinking of Cynthia. That's who I'm thinking of, who was having problems last week. Oh, yay, Rhonda, you're going with us too. So I don't know. The classes, this one I believe is only going to be 3 classes worth. Today we are going to get through the lining panels. So everybody has their pieces cut out, correct? Hi, Dawn. Dawn, are you doing this one with us? So yeah, we're going to do the insides. I'm almost done the tutorial. I'm just waiting for my edge coat to dry. Because of course I'm edge coating everything. So yeah, the goal today is to get our ID window done and our card slots done. And that should probably take the majority of the time. It's not a super long sew, this one. All cut, perfect. Now the reason I didn't do cutting is because Nicole Asonar told me she didn't want me to give out any measurements whatsoever. So you guys are going to have to follow along with your pattern as well. There's quite a bit of marking. I've actually already done all of my marking, but of course I'll give everybody time to do it. It's pretty fast. But I can't give out any measurements at all. So I can't show my ruler. I can't give you guys measurements. So make sure you're following along in the pattern. I'll try to tell you what page we're on because I know I jump around a little bit. I'll try not to. Oh, right, Dawn, I forgot the wedding is in like a week and a half. Awesome. You've made one of these before, haven't you, Dawn? I think you have. Dawn, 20 months. Wow. Have we been, I guess I've been doing the classes for 20 months now. That is crazy. Okay. What else do we need to talk about? Who is going to be edge coating? Anybody? Anybody? Because there's a few pieces we have to edge coat before the final edge coat. You could edge coat all of your little slits of your slots and your ID window. I don't worry about doing those ones, so. Oh, you haven't made the Triskele yet. Oh. I thought you had for some reason. I don't know. I have like a dog hair or something in my eyeball. It's driving me crazy. One thing you'll have to have handy, mine is very well loved. I actually put it onto cardstock, is the accordion fold template. This will be a major tool today, so have that ready to go. I just taped mine onto a piece of cardstock, see, but it just made it a little bit easier to fold. Oh, what does my shirt say? Do you know it? You'd like to edge coat? Okay, cool. What does it say? Be pretty, be strong. No, be pretty, pretty strong, pretty brave, pretty kind. Look, it's so big on me. I had just bought this too, but I forgot to change. This is pajamas, you guys. I am so sorry. I forgot to change. I even have, look at these. Ta-da, unicorns and donuts and coffee cups. Like, this is how I dress when I'm sewing, and I completely forgot to get into proper attire for this, so I apologize. Okay, so I am edge coating pretty much everything. The only parts I'm not edge coating, but I will be showing you how to seal these off, is like this. You could edge coat around here if you wanted to, and all of these, but I find I'm just too messy with it and it shows too much. So I kind of cheated with this one. You're going to notice, do you see? Maybe you can't see. Can you see that I've had it stitched before? I had 10 of these already in production before it got voted in, and I had gotten to just putting the ID window on. So for 2 of them, the tutorial one and for this one, I just pulled all of that out. So the back, you're going to see where I used to have glue on it and everything like that, because I didn't need more than 10 of these. So I just decided to take 2 of them and pull back some of my work and then work from that. Diane, me too. This isn't what I sleep in. I usually sleep in nighties and stuff. Like, you all want to know this. This is just my comfy around the house clothing, but I don't go out like this usually. Never would have known until I said, I have really cute pants on though. I like it. You put the whole pattern on cardstock. Awesome, Rhonda. Yes, I did. For this one, I bought this pattern before Nicole had SVG files, so I created my own SVG files for this. Do not ask me how I did that. It was, I think I had Brady help me. So I just put it into my Cricut Maker and cut it all out. It's just so fast. And then the only other thing, so beside the slits, I also took my hole punch and just punched little holes. Can you guys see that? Just to make it look a little fancy. Don't have to do that, but yeah, I cut these out like last year, and I was finally getting to making them, so I just pulled back 2 of them, so I didn't have to cut out any others. You made a nightgown today, Rhonda? Awesome. Okay, so you don't have to stabilize any of your cotton pieces for this one. It's just the cotton. What are you guys using for your main stabilizer? So again, I cut all of this out, and I had all of my main stabilizer pieces already cut out. It wasn't very much work for me at all. So I will be using Peltex for this, fusible Peltex. You could use Decavol Heavy, of course. I think Nicole actually now glues in this like cardboard stuff. Like it's one of her new videos that she updated how she did this. So it just all depends. So I'm using a fusible. We will be fusing the Peltex on for homework or whatever it is, or gluing it on if you don't have a fusible kind. We will do that by the end of the class, mainly because when I fuse on my Peltex, my Decibel Heavy, I like to let it sit at least 24 hours overnight to make sure it manipulation isn't going to unstick it at all. Or if you're going to be gluing in some sort of cardboard or some kind of stabilizer, that allows that glue to dry. Fusible Peltex, Decibel Heavy, perfect. Dawn's making yogurt instead of a Triskele wallet. That's awesome. So in this class, it looks like we have 13 people. Our Tuesdays are always our smaller group. We have 26 for Thursdays, which is awesome. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Are there any questions about anything before we start? Oh, I lied. We have 14 people in this class. I forgot to write down Lise. Sorry, Lise. So I am almost done the tutorial. I have it sitting right here. I have to put it all together still, but like I got bits and pieces done and everything. I just dropped my ruler. Oh well, let me grab it. Yeah, so I've got a bunch of edge painting going on over here. We'll talk about that edge painting. We'll need that probably for next class or the class after if you're doing it. I did use cork. I love this wallet in cork. I do have a finished one. Let me find my finished one to show you guys. One sec. I sold 3 of these this weekend. I had 4 made and I sold 3. But I think I have one left. Yes, I do. Let me grab it out. So, no, it's good. I'm making a couple more now for the next couple of fairs. But this is one I had made already. Yeah. Yay. So you guys can decide if you want to bevel your edges. I will probably bevel my exterior edges once I get it all taped together. My lining ones, on these ones, I had beveled in here, but I don't think I'm going to worry about doing that because on these pockets here, I'm just going to keep them straight across. I'm not going to do a little angled cut, but you can if you want to. I probably could go back in and do it. We will see as we go. This is a wallet where you will see that it looks like on one side the card slots are upside down. So this is the one and this is the other. And the reason she has it that way is because the ribbon is so thick, it just evenly distributes the thickness. Okay. You can think about if you're putting a nameplate where you're going to put it. I didn't do a nameplate. I actually have, you can see here, my logo there. I have a branding iron that I brand my onto my leathers and my corks. So I've already gone ahead and branded all of mine. I found that was a really nice area to put the logo there. So if you're using a nameplate, you may want to do it there, or you can think about where you want to do it on the exterior. I will be using number 3 zippers for this, just because the number 5 zippers get really thick, but you can use a number 5 if you want to. If you're on an industrial, I don't think I had the problem on this one. Having a freshly oiled machine when working with the cork, especially in the thicker sections, will really help your walking foot not eat the cork. It'll go a little smoother, because when we go to sew these, we will be sewing it like this at one point across here, and I had a couple that I had made where it ate, like it chewed up the other side. So I just found having a freshly oiled machine helped that a little bit. What else? What are you guys using for your ribbon or for your card slots? show you what I'm using. I have used ribbon. I have used cotton. My favorite thing to use, so this is a landscape fabric. This isn't like the plastic crinkly landscape fabric. This is the cloth landscape fabric. And I seriously have a huge roll that I could put my arms around like this that I bought from Home Depot for, I think it was like 30 bucks, like super, super, super cheap. So that's what, is it a soft outdoor fabric like this, Diane? So yeah, that's what I'm using. It doesn't fray. It's amazing. It's strong. It's durable, and it's thin, so it doesn't make it too thick. Okay, you guys are all on the same page with me. So ribbon works really good too if you have thicker ribbon, about 2.5 inches. So I have all of that already cut out as well. What am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anything? You guys want to see all I have left of wallets? I only have one tall wallet left, 2 men's wallets. I had 5 of these, and I had about 5 of these, and I had 10, yeah, I had 10 Pocket Pals. One of them got stolen, and I sold 4, so it was a pretty good weekend. And these are all items that I made last year that didn't sell at last year's market, so I was pretty happy. Ooh, my watch is talking to me. So yeah. I'll keep this one out as an example because I don't have my tutorial one done just yet. Throw this over here. Any questions? I almost drank some glue instead of my water. That wouldn't have been good. Landscape material. Look at us all on the same page. Awesome. Have you guys ever made one before? Those that are sewing along with me, or is this your first one? Over here. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to have you guys, I've already done it. Let me put this down to the table. I've already done mine, again, because I couldn't show you the measurements. But, where is it? I have my pattern kind of funky. I actually wrote all of my measurements on the back of my envelope, so I never had to look at the pattern. But the measurements are... where were they? Page. Let me figure out where it is first. 1 second. Please hold. Okay, this one. Okay, so for your lining pieces, so those are the ones with the card slots. There are some measurements in the pattern. This is your first one, Annie? So I want you guys to pull out your lining ones. Again, and ignore the messiness of this. It's because I took one apart, so I didn't have to cut more. You'll see I have lines drawn out on the back here. And for the lining ones, the measurements are on page... let me find it. Where are you? Give me a moment. Interior top. I'm missing a page. Somewhere, I'm just trying to find where the measurements are. Okay, so I guess there are probably pattern pieces for this. Oh, there are. Look at that. Because I use my Cricut machine, I don't do it. So you're going to see on your pattern pieces for your lining, your interior bottom and your interior top. Again, I can't show you these things. So on your pattern pieces 1A and 2B, I need you to draw your lines on right now for these 2 pieces, as well as for your main exterior piece. You should have 4 lines to draw, page 2 and 3. So again, they have the measurements on, does it show it on page 2 and 3? Oh, it says transfer all fold lines from your pattern pieces. So you're going to have to look at your pattern pieces. Again, I cannot give you these measurements. And if you could go ahead and transfer them all onto the wrong sides of your fabric. I've also already transferred on my interior top piece. Is that right? Yeah. My magnetic snap parts right here as well. So if you guys can go ahead and do that, and then we have all of that marking set aside, and then we'll be able to go on from there. So let me know when you're done that, and then we'll get going. Again, I'm so sorry I can't do that with you, but there's just no way of me doing it without showing you guys the measurements from the ruler. So and it might help to mark. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to mark these as, because it says first fold, second fold, third fold. So I'm actually going to write first, second, and then third. I won't mix up my lines. Fourth, fifth, sixth. Did I do that right? Oh, of course I did it backwards. Do over, Brandy. Okay, so the side that has that's opposite from the cards is your first. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And that'll just help us with the instructions later on. I kind of go into automatic mode because I've made so many of these. And I got to try not to do that because that's not fair to you guys. Okay, this one, first, second, and they're all labeled on the pattern pieces as well. It'll just help us. But I did not. Okay, I'm just going to go off camera so I can mark where my, on this one, where my magnetic snaps are going to go. Well, that would be on this piece here. Okay. So yes, if we get all of our marking done, and then we are golden, and I can show you everything else. Okay. You did that part, Diane? Awesome. Said I probably should have, I don't remember if I said to do it or not. I know I said to do all the cutting, but it doesn't take too long to do the marking. They're just measurements. I actually really like, I sell more Triskeles for some reason. I like the tall wallet too though. I like all of Sonar's wallets. For men's wallets, hers are my favorite, and they don't stay in stock when I make them out of cork. They don't. I don't make them very often. I usually only make them for market season. Again, I had many left over from last market season, so I didn't make any this year. I have a bunch of Pocket Pals already cut out that I cut out last year. I had these Triskele wallets cut out, but I didn't need them. Rhonda's done. Perfect. So yeah, so this market season is definitely in the Kamloops area much, much better. Now, the wallets for my markets, while we're waiting for Annie, so my market season this year, I found, even though it wasn't marking them down very much, I advertised that I was going to do friends and family pricing with no taxes. So my friends and family pricing is 10 to 15% off, depending on what the bag's made out of. So I kind of just, if it's made out of, say, more expensive vinyls, I usually only do 10% off. And if it's by regular vinyls, it's 15% off. Cork, well, I don't ever really have cork purses. My wallets, I put to 10% off. And my brand new items, I didn't really mark down. But I found people thinking when they get that $20 off or that $30 off, they're like, yay, sale. And really, I'm still getting like 2.5 times my supply cost. So I did really well this year. You make your bifold wallet for leather. I've made it in leather, Rhonda. It's awesome. And cork. Dave has one in cork. My son has one in leather. And my dad has the trifold. He's actually gone through 2 of them. I'm going to make him another one for his stocking for Christmas this year. So we'll just hold on and wait for Annie, and then we will get started. I find the most complicated part to this is actually doing the card slots. It's not super hard. But if you don't have your landscape fabric going the right way right away, you will sew your things shut, which we don't want to do. Alrighty. So I've already done it on this one. Because I didn't edge paint around here, if you're doing it in cork or even if you're doing it in leather, you might want to do it right now. It'll dry really fast. Is take some of your fabric tack or even some of your Giardini base coat and just run a thin layer all the way around this raw edge just to make it nice and smooth and to make it so you don't get any little frays in it. I don't worry about it so much in these little areas, but around this area, I did it already. So I just put a little bit on my finger and run it all the way around. Unless you are edge coating it, then yeah. So again, you're going to see all my pieces. I got glue because I took it apart. Where is my... And I've lost my... Oh, there it is. And you'll see that my clear ID thing has little holes in it because I had sewn through it once already. I'm actually just going to get a cloth and clean that one up a little bit more. Done. Perfect. Okay. So the first thing we want to do, we're all using double-sided tape, which is great, is we want to take the piece that you have with your card slot opening or your ID window here. What we're going to do is take some double-sided tape. For those that are watching after the fact, if you're using glue, you would put the glue exactly where I'm going to put the tape, okay? Let me kind of put all this out of the way. It looks kind of messy. So we want to take this tape and put it about 1/8 of an inch or so away from the opening for the ID window. On the 2 short sides. Double-sided tape works so much better. I wish I had thought to do double-sided tape on the ones that I made before because the time to wait for that glue to dry, oh my gosh. I was happy I could pull the glue away from this though, so I didn't have to recut them. Okay. And then, uh-oh, I lost my, oh, there it is. Okay. So take the backing off of your tape. If you're using glue, you will want to work quite quickly so it doesn't, because you'll use a very thin layer of glue. You don't want it to soak through to the other side too much. School's just out right now, so Coco is going to be having a little conniption. Now you're going to take your ID window and you are going to put it, if you have a right side or a wrong side, you want to have it wrong side up. Mine is clear vinyl, so it doesn't matter. And you want to place it evenly and stick it down to that tape. So it hangs over by approximately 1/4 of an inch-ish around that box, like so. Okay, and then what we're going to do now is we're going to flip this back over, and just around that box, we're going to do 1/8 of an inch top stitch. I'm going to be pulling my threads to the back and tying them off in the back so I get a nice and seamless line. If you aren't tying your threads off, make sure you do a back stitch at the start and the stop. So let's go over to the machines and do that. Hope my cameras are all set up okay still. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and top stitch that. And I do have my chat going on over here, so I can see it. I have my iPad sitting here so I can see what is going on. So an 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and that is going to catch that plastic window and work well. So yeah, I'm sorry you guys can see my little keyboard here. But yeah, I can at least see the chat here because we're going to be spending a lot of time over at the machine today doing a lot of the work from here. So again, I didn't backstitch because I'm pulling my threads long. If you aren't going to tie them off, make sure you backstitch. You're going to see oil on my cork because my machine is freshly oiled, but that works really well for cork. I just find it doesn't eat the cork as much on a industrial machine. I'm working really hard to follow my previous stitch lines from when I did this before I pulled it out. I'm going to pull my threads, pull on my bottom thread and pull my top thread through, go across. So this stitch is decorative as well as functional. So you want it to look as good as it possibly can. And landing in my hole I started on so I can tie this off in the back. And it looks really bizarre on the back, but it's because of the clear vinyl. It's because you can see all your threads and everything. I don't know, it's weird. Let me see if I can get rid of my keyboard there in the way. Guess it doesn't really matter. Hi, Frankie. Oh, look at you multitasking. Frankie, are you going to be doing the Triskele wallet when you get home? Okay. Carefully burn my threads without burning my plastic. Okay, so let me know when you're there. I'm just going to try to find a different way to set up my iPad here. Oh, I think that'll work better. There we go. I got a frog in my throat. Holy moly. You are awesome. So when you're making it, Frankie, if you have any questions, be sure to reach out. Diane's done. Ooh, we're doing the thumbs up. We haven't done the thumbs up in so long. That's awesome. Oh, you can't see my face. Let me fix that. There we go. Rhonda is done. Coco says hi again. This one is a nice and easy sew. There's no rushing with this. We have so much time to do it. Again, I have the classes all set out for what we have to get done each day to have it done in 3 classes. So we could probably get it done in 2, but I don't want to rush through it. People messaging me here. So you can have your ID pocket backing ready to go. I'm going to trim off some of this hanging over threads because I pulled it out once already. Annie is done. Okay. So, I guess we could have done one more thing before our next step. So we have that all done. Now what we want to do is we want to, before we start putting on anything else, we want to go ahead and just top that first slot there. We want to go ahead and top stitch across there. So again, either pull your threads to the back or you can back stitch, go across and back stitch. I'm going to pull my threads to the back, but go ahead and top stitch just 1/8 of an inch under that first slot opening above the window. So I'm pulling my threads along again and just underneath that first one. Again, I'm being really careful because these were sections that I had sewn previously, so I want to make sure I'm falling in my holes. So you can't tell that I pulled it out. Okay. Go ahead and tie those off. Again, you don't have to tie them off. I just like to. Honestly, I don't always tie them off. If I'm in a hurry and I'm production sewing them, I don't take the time. But I only have 3 to make actually. The tutorial one, I have one more in my pile left to make here, and this one. So. So then I can do this one by heart. So if I keep forgetting to tell you guys what page we're on, please tell me to look at the pattern to do it, okay? Because I know I've jumped out of order already. Oh my goodness, camera. Okay, so then we kind of skip through page 2. We'll go back to page 2. We are on page 4. Page 3 and page 4. Okay, so let me know when you're all done that. Rhonda's done. Trying to keep my workspace nice and neat for you guys. Try to pick a color of the cork that you guys can see pretty good too. So I'm going to bring my threads. I also went through, you can kind of see how I have burn marks on the back here. I just went through on all of those edges of my cork and just ran a lighter over them just to get rid of any little fraying pieces. The backside always looks terrible. It looks like I've abused it. As soon as we get a couple more thumbs up, we will move on. I don't want to get too far ahead because for the first couple card slots we do, we will want to be doing them together, and then we will finish them off. We'll probably be finishing them off together here, but I'll be sitting at the machine and you won't necessarily see what we're doing. We'll all kind of do it on our own to get it done. But for the first couple, at least for this one, I want to show you what we're doing. Just because it's so easy to sew the card slot shut if you have your ribbon going the wrong way. Annie's done. Give Diane a few more minutes. Her thumbs up is great. I haven't even cut out Thursday's bag yet. I have to do that tomorrow after I finish the Triskele tutorial. Oh, goodness. I've had a busy week. My great uncle passed away last week, so we've been dealing with some stuff there, and then the fairs, and oh my gosh, it's just been crazy. All right, Diane's done now. Okay, so now we're going to flip this over again. Now, you're going to take your taper glue. So we have that first card slot that we just top stitched. We're going to bump over that one, and we're going to put some tape or a thin line of glue about 1/8 of an inch away from the next card slot line up. And we're going to take double-sided tape and put it all the way around, all the way down to the ID window. We do not sew in this piece except for at the very top. It ends up kind of getting sandwiched in there. Now you'll see these lines here. You could go ahead and put the glue or the tape right up against those lines. I found it makes a pretty good, or 1/8 of an inch or so away from it. Get out of there, fluff. Again, if you're using glue, don't go super thick on the glue because you don't want it to kind of seep through to the other side or to look bubbly, if that makes sense. Okay, now you're going to take your ID window piece and you're going to put it right side down. So the wrong side is up, and you want to make sure it's lining up with that top line, that next card slot that we have not top stitched under by 1/8 of an inch. Because we are going to catch that in our top stitching there. So 1/8 of an inch, and then smooth it all the way down and stick it to the tape. I'm going to flip it over, make sure it looks good on this side, which it does. Just like that. And then let me know when you're done there. We're not going to stitch that in place yet. Oops, this isn't the one I want. Yes, it is. And then we're going to start doing our ribbon work. I just love that little pop of color or fabric on the underneath part like that. I just think it's so pretty. Yeah, okay. I'm second guessing myself, but I'm doing it right. Everything's making sense. We're good so far. Diane's good. Hi, Kim. How are you feeling? Are you making this one? We are going to need our little accordion fold template for this as well as I have just a card because I like to test all of my cards slots before I sew them in place. Rhonda's ready. Give Annie a couple more minutes. We're making the Triskele wallet by Sonar, Kim. No cutting class for this one because I couldn't share the measurements, plus I cut mine out on my Cricut Maker. So this is the Triskele, yes. Give it another minute or so. I know Annie sometimes gets stolen by her kids. That's why I always try to give a little extra time there. Woohoo! Okay. Awesome, Kim. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to flip this over. And we're going to use our double-sided tape or our glue. If you're using glue, you'll have to do this step by step. We're going to do all of our double-sided tape placement right away. So where we stuck that ID pocket window, we're going to put some double-sided tape over top of that, 1/8 of an inch away-ish from that same slit. And then you're going to go ahead and do that underneath all of the slits. And this will just make it faster once we get into our groove and we're just sitting at the machine to get it all done at the machine. Okay, and after that top slit, you want to do another piece of tape about, oh, I don't know, 1/8-ish, in between 1/8 and 1/4, somewhere in there, away from the top or the side edge as well. Just like so, at the very top here. So there's no slit at the top, but we do need a piece about 1/8 inch or 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of the wallet there. Oh, who just donated? It's not telling me. Whoever just donated, thank you so much. Oh, Frankie, thank you, Frankie. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, so let me know. Yes, Kim, you can cut it out on your Cricut. I made my own SVG files, but Sonar actually has SVG files as well that you can purchase. Unfortunately, they weren't the ones that were on discount, but you might be able to purchase them separately. But yeah, I did mine on cork and I did it all, except the only pieces I cut by hand were my ribbon and my, my landscape fabric and my cotton pieces. Okay, so everybody let me know when your tape is in place. So this is the only part that can get a little bit confusing, and that if you do it wrong, it's messed up. So I want to take it nice and slow and walk you guys through doing this first panel, and then the second panel, we'll still do it all together today, but we'll just go at our own speed there. And then that is actually all that we are going to do today. So this probably will take us about a half hour to do. Oh no, we're going to do one other thing after that as well. Looking at my class plan. Diane's done. Kim, so I made those SVG files when the Triskele wallet first came out. I didn't do it, my son did it. I don't ask me how to do it. I don't know. But I used my Cricut Maker, and I know we created it in Creative Space, Creative Maker Space, but I don't remember, it was too long ago. I'm so thirsty. You can tell winter's coming because the air here gets so dry. Holy. Okay. I love my Cricut. I very rarely use it though. It's a $500 piece of equipment that just kind of sits in my stand over there. I only pull it out when I'm doing this stuff. Another minute or so. So everybody has their strips already cut out. Ah, Kim, I hope his surgery went well. Rhonda's ready. Diane is ready. How are you making out, Annie? No questions yet? So far, so good? Okay. So now what we want to do is that first line of tape that is right above our ID window where our backing is, that is where we're going to be working from. So this one is a little bit different than what we will be doing on the other card slot panel, and it's only because of the ID window. Okay, you ready? Okay, so take the tape off of that first one. Okay, so it's right over top of that ID window. You're going to take your landscape fabric or your ribbon, and you are going to stick it down right on that tape. So bring it down like a good 1/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch down from that slot, like so. So our tape, it's going this way. Then what you want to do, that's all nicely stuck in place with that tape, and we're going to pull that down this way. Now, if you're using glue, you probably have to let the glue dry, but all of us are using tape, so this is good. You're going to pull that nice and taut. Give it a good finger press, okay? So now we have our ribbon facing downwards. We're going to take our accordion fold template and we're going to line the top of it up with the next card slot up. So the slit of it, the top of it, just like so. Line it up with the next one up, hold it in place, and then take your ribbon and fold it over top of that template. And what I like to do is I hold it nice and tight with my fingers right along that hold, give it a press, and I pull that template out. But I have my crease here. And then I take off that next layer of tape like so. Oh no, I lied. Don't do that yet. I'm ahead of myself because this one's different than the other side. Okay, back up. So yes, okay, so we stuck it down to the tape. We pulled our tape down like so, so it's to the bottom. Now we're going to take this to the machine, making sure this is nice and tight down, okay? We're going to flip it over, and we're going to top stitch with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance right beneath that next line there. And that is also going to stitch our ID pocket back up. So your tape should be hanging out of the bottom. This is the part that's different than the other one. That's why we're doing this one first. Okay, so let's go ahead and top stitch that. I hope I didn't confuse you guys. I'm using cloth landscape fabric. Super cheap, Kim. Super cheap to buy. You can also use ribbon or cotton if you wanted to. Right through there, that's going to sew the starting of the landscape fabric in place, as well as the very top of that back ID panel. Oh, now you can see my iPad. Oh well, it is what it is. So again, I'm going to hold my threads long and tie them off in the back. So you can see this first one, if I kept going the way I was, I would have sewn this slot shut. Exactly what I don't want to do. And it's only because this first one is a little bit different than all the others. I'm going to pull my top thread through and tie it off. I have a whole boat too, Kim. I really like it for like the Pocket Pals and the Purse Pals and all of the Sonar ones. Tall wallet, the Triskele wallet. It's just so thin and so lightweight, and it's perfect for it. I used to use ribbon, but that was expensive and it gets thick. Okay, so now we can take this back and we can do what I was originally doing. Okay, so everybody let me know when you're there. So once you have that done, again, your landscape fabric should be pointing out the bottom, and you should have 2 card slots that are now top stitched. The first one should be your ID window, and your card should slide in nicely into that ID window, which it does. Top to bottom, okay? It doesn't tear easy, Kim. Not the stuff I have anyways. I just bought it from Home Depot. It's pretty durable. This is the cloth one. It's not the plasticky feeling one. It feels like cloth. Rhonda's ready. Now the rest of it is kind of the same thing over and over again, and same with the opposite card slot thing, except for we start it a little bit different, but that's okay. We'll walk through that. I guess it was just looking like it was a little short, but I guess it's not. I'm comparing it to the one I did earlier. Okay, it's the same size. So once we get the first of these two going, these next two card slots, I'll let you guys go at it to get them done. Awesome, Kim. Okay, so now we're going to flip this over again. So again, you have it pointing down to the bottom. Now we're going to take this. We're back to this. I was just a little premature before. So we're going to line the top edge of our fold template, our accordion fold template, to the top of our slit of the next card slot. So again, I'm putting this right up along the top. I still have the backing of my tape there. Holding it on, holding it in place. This is why I put it on cardstock. It just gives it a little bit of a thicker thing to grab onto. Fold the bottom of the card slots up, hold it in place, pull out your template, take off the backing of the tape, and then smooth it nice and evenly upwards like so. Okay, and this is where I flip it over because the tape's holding it where it needs to be. And where we had just top stitched, we want to make sure we didn't top stitch it shut. If I had kept continuing with how I was doing it before, it would have been done that way and I would have cried. So you should be able to put your card slot in and you can see if it's at a nice height once it's all the way in. You can adjust that fold if you need to. It's perfect for me. So I'm going to take that out. And now with the fabric, so this is where it's opposite. The fabric is now facing up to the top, and we're going to go ahead and we are going to top stitch through with the fabric going up through that next card slot that hasn't been top stitched yet. So go ahead and do that. Hope that made sense. Dogs want to be fed, that's why they're barking. Riley's going to go feed them. There we go. Made that a little brighter. Okay. So now when we're top stitching, we want to make sure it's always poking out the top. Otherwise, you will be sewing that pocket shut. It's only when we first start that we have it going down. Okay. I'm once again pulling my threads long. If you're not doing that, make sure you backstitch at the start and the stop. And tie them off. I have sewn many of these pockets shut. That's why I'm taking this section so slow and why I test every single one, because I was production sewing these and got through a whole bunch of them and realized that that first pocket, just like I almost did with you guys, I had sewn shut so many times just because it's that little bit different. Riley's getting his food, that's why he sounds so excited. Got to do better there. If I move this over like this, it's just so I can see those chats while I'm at the machine. I could always move the camera over a little bit, I guess, this way. There we go. That might be better. Okay, that's all tied off. Now I'm not melting these threads because this landscape fabric melts super easy. So I'm just making sure I'm tying it off really good. Make sense? And then I'll show you what to do next. It's kind of rinse and repeat now. But I'll wait till everybody's there and then we will go together. Rhonda's done. And your pocket works good, Rhonda? Well, you won't be able to test that one until we do the next step. But. So again, our cloth is hanging out top. Diane's done. Makes sense? I think it's ingenious that she came up with doing it this way because, I mean, we've always done the accordion fold. So this is just, it's just awesome, especially when you're using a non-fraying fabric like this. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing again. So this is what that looks like. We should have this one loop like so. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring our fabric down to the bottom, pull it nice and tight like so. And again, we're working with the next one up to where the tape is. Okay, so again, use your template, line it up with the next one up above the tape, right along the top of the slot. This is the last one I'm going to do at the table, and then I'm going to do the rest at the machine. Hold down your template, fold it upwards, make a nice crease and hold it, pull out your template. You can kind of straighten things out. Hold that in place. Take off that tape backing. And bring it all the way up. Nice and tight. Stick it down. Before we sew it, now we're back up for our ribbon going upwards. We're going to take our card and stick it in that slot that we just top stitched and make sure the card fits. And I tend to, just because I'm paranoid, just go and make sure that all my card slots are working. It is. So now we can go ahead with this sticking out the top and top stitch through the top. And we're going to go ahead at the machine and do then all three of those top stitching. We're going to do that same process for all of them. Okay, so let's go do that. Okay. Again, make sure everything is hanging out. Sometimes this back piece here likes to kind of flip up. Make sure all your little loops are all hanging down so you don't accidentally sew through them. Make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. Pulling my threads long. Ooh. Something sounds like it's happening with my bobbin. We'll find out, I guess. Maybe I didn't hold my thread tight enough. It made a weird sound. Oh no. I think we're okay. Oh yeah, I got a little bit of build up a thread there because I didn't hold my bobbin thread tight enough. That's okay. Didn't get caught up in my bobbin mechanism. That's all I care about. Tying them off. Other side. Come on. I'm going to pull it through. There it goes. Okay, continue with the other ones until you finish the top stitching of the last one, and then I'll show you how to finish this off. Okay, so once again, it's to the top. I'm pulling it down nice and tight, and we're going to work with the next one. So I got my template lining it up with the next one up, folding it up, holding in place, taking out the template, sticking it to the tape. And then if you're like me, you'll want to double check the one that we had just top stitched to make sure the card goes in nicely and is a good height, and it is. And then top stitch with the fabric pointing out the top. Tie off my threads. I am using a 6, Rhonda, on my Titan. I'm using a Tex 90 thread as well. I think when I was on my Juki, I used a 3.5 or a 4 for my top stitch for this. But on my Titan, I use a 6. My Titan, I'm usually a 4 for my regular sewing and a 6 to a 7 depending on the thickness for my top stitching. Okay, that's one's done. So now I'm going to pull my ribbon down, nice and tight down again, working with the next one up. Now, yeah. So after we finish top stitching this last stitch, this last card slot, then I'll show you how to finish this off at the table. I really like the Tex 90. I only have black in Tex 90. They don't have as many colors in Tex 90, but I use black primarily, and I really do like how it looks. Okay, oopsies. Putting this on, folding it up. Oops, my hands aren't working. Get up there. There we go. Take off the next layer of tape. Double check that that top stitched one is good fit. And it is. And then with it sticking out the top, we're going to go ahead and top stitch that last one. Okay, and when you're all done top stitching that last one, keep your thing going up this way, and I'll show you what's next at the table. Let me know when you're all done. And again, make sure if you're not tying off that you are back stitching. Ask me how I know, because sometimes I would forget and I wouldn't tie it off. And then all my stitches would fall out. Learn from my mistakes. Again, I'm not very good at production sewing. I do silly mistakes like that when I'm sewing a whole bunch at the same time. I'm not a production sewer by any means. I'm a process sewer. I like to do it for doing the one item, just for the process of it. It doesn't matter if it's hard or easy or whatever, but I don't like to do it in quantity. Oh, Diane's all done. She beat me. Okay. Take this back. All right. Still have that hanging out. Rhonda and Annie, let me know when you're there. So again, we have this pointing up to the top. You can tell my cutting went a little awry here, but you know what? It doesn't matter for this. It'll still hold the card. You're back stitching, Diane? Which is fine. The way I'm doing it takes longer. Did I backstitch on this one? Yeah, this one you can tell I backstitched because you can see at the start and stop how the thread is thicker. This one I like because there's a sunflower in the pocket. Rhonda's done. You still with us, Annie, or did your kids kidnap you? You're probably sewing. Give it another 2 or 3 minutes. And what we can do while we wait is we can take out our other piece here, and underneath all of our card slots we can put our tape. Just to prep for the next step. So much easier with tape. So much easier. Annie's done. Perfect. Okay. I'm just going to finish my tape here quickly. I'll show you how to finish that off. So when you guys do get to taping this one, you tape under all the card slots, and then once again at the very top about a scant 1/4 of an inch away from the edge, like so. And I'll show you what that piece is for right now. Okay, so we have our tape up. We're going to pull it down. Look at that bag cutting there. Okay, so now we're going to take our fold template and we're going to put it at the top of our tape, which is about 1/8 of an inch, or just in between 1/4 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. You're going to line the template up there. You may have to adjust this a little bit depending. Fold up your ribbon, pull it out. We're not going to be sewing this side. It's just going to be held on with the tape because it's going to get caught in that top stitching. That's why we're doing it like within 1/8 of an inch from that edge, like so. When we go to top stitch everything together, it's going to catch that. The tape's going to hold it for now. So flip it over and make sure your card goes in nicely. What's going on there? I have something going on. 1 second. I didn't pull it tight enough. See, there we go. Let's try that again. Oops, wrong one. You tried to fold up on me. Let go. Now it's sticking to the tape. This one you may have to adjust just because we're kind of guesstimating where to stick it down. So see where it goes when you put your card in. And if you're happy with it, leave it like that. Make sure it's taped down really good, and you can trim, just kind of pull this away and trim up to where the tape is. And again, that is going to get caught when we sew all of our pieces together. You don't want to be right to the end, because you want it to get caught in that seam when we sew them together. Just like so. Got a little too much there still. So make sure it's stuck down really good to that tape or glue. Okay. So that is all of those card slots. Let me know when you're done that, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next, and then we'll be finished with this piece for today. Again, you might want to double check all of your slots to make sure they're all working, because once we do the next couple steps, there's no return. And they all work perfect. Diane's done. So the next part we're doing for this is going to be on page 4, number 12, called Top Stitch Card Slot Panel. Now, she says you could crease the lines. I never get a good crease on the cork, so I just I don't crease it. Rhonda's done. So now this is where our lines are going to come into play. It's not hard. You're just kind of folding blind. You want to be very aware of these laying nice and flat. Again, you can see they're not super even. They don't have to be. They just have to be within that second and that third line. We are going to catch those, and those are going to hold those nice and flat within the fold. Okay, so now what we're going to do, so this is why we labeled the lines 1, 2, 3, 4. Line number 3, we're going to fold this the best that we can along that line number 3. It should almost fold this right in half, I think. I'm going to just kind of peek in here. That's at the 3 there. It's just a slight bit over. And there's the 3 there. Clip it in place. We want to make sure it's nice and flat, that the card slots are laying nice and flat in there. And then clip that fold all in place. Now this is where if you wanted to bevel these edges, you could. I'm not going to for this one, I don't think. So yeah, I've got like a little bit of a hangover there. It may be different for everybody based on how thick it is. Do I want to bevel these edges? Do you guys want these Are you guys beveling your edges on this? I am going to on my exterior, but do you want to bevel your edges on this? I just find it kind of a pain in the butt to sew, to be honest. Like these, or to edge paint. If you bevel it, you have to edge paint them, and then that kind of takes time away from this. I'm going to just leave mine straight, I think. I don't know, what do you guys want to do? I can show you how to bevel them, or we can leave them straight. This is beveled. Just leave them straight. Okay, let's leave them straight. Otherwise, you just kind of eyeball it and you just kind of cut these on a corner. And you would do that right now, cut them on a corner. But then you got to get them all to match up. I'm only going to do that on my exterior pieces on here. You see how they're beveled there, but you do that all at the end, which is so easy to do. I'm not going to worry about it for the lining pieces. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to top stitch with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance along that fold. We want to make sure that's all tucked in there good. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, if you want to bevel those edges, you can do that. You do that now, and then you would just stitch on the angle across and stitch on an angle again. Oh, Rhonda, you want them beveled? So yeah, all you would have to do, Rhonda, again, I'm not going to do it, is you just want to make sure you get them nice and even and cut it on a little bit of an angle on this side and on this side before you sew them, so you can, it's pretty easy to do. I'm just not going to. Okay, so let's go ahead and top stitch that. Again, Nicole kind of does it, but I will do it on the exterior pieces. I'm just not going to do it on these ones. Okay, that made sense though? So yeah, you would top stitch on the angle and across if you beveled them. I'm just going to go all the way across. And make sure you back stitch at the start and stop. And you want to make sure your bobbin thread is nice as well, because it will be seen sort of thick, because this is a bill fold. This is where you can put money and receipts and stuff. So you will see the back side. And she looks good. You got this? Okay, perfect, Rhonda. Okay. All done. That one's all done anyways. This is the part that takes the most time. And that one you can set aside for now. And then I'll show you guys how to get started on the next one. I had to piece some together because mine wasn't right width, but that's okay. Okay, done. I'm really bad at getting those angles to be exactly the same. That's why I'm not doing it on them. It drives me crazy, but I will do it on the exterior because I like the way it looks. Looks great on the inside too, but I look at mine and I see that they're not even with one another, and then I just keep cutting more and more off, and it just like gets all OCD. Diane's done, Rhonda's done. It'll just help you guys get started on this, just because that first one is always done just that little itty bitty bit different. Just getting it started is always done a little different than the rest of them, so. But I'll be doing all of this one at the machine. We'll just kind of all do it at our own speed. How did it work out, Rhonda? Did you get it nice and even? Better than me? Okay, so now you have your ribbon. If you have a wrong side or right side, it will be wrong side up. Take the tape off of the first line. So it's going upwards this way. We're going to stick it down about 1/4 of an inch or so. Stick it. And this is the one where we have to pull it down before we top stitch. Okay, You know how all the other ones we have it facing up, but this first one is always down. So now we're going to go ahead and flip this over with it facing down through the bottom and top stitch through that first slit. And then we'll do all the rest at the machine because it continues the way we were doing with all of the other ones where it's facing up. If it confuses anybody, please do let me know. But we've got this. Okay, so again, for this first one, it's done. It's not perfect. It makes my own, like, I don't have OCD, but it makes me have OCD because I can never get that angle perfect. And you don't have to bevel the edges for the exterior either. We'll see if we do it. We'll see what it looks like. Okay, so make sure it's nice and tight. This piece has to be a little bit of a longer piece because we're doing more card slots. That's why I pieced it together. Okay. And we want to make sure that we're catching that folded part. Okay. Do this. Tie off in the back, and I caught it, which is good. You want to make sure that you've caught that landscape fabric in the back so we know it's being held in place. Thanks, Kim. It's all Cork Supply, Canadian supplier out of, where is she out of, you guys? It's Alberta. It's not Lethbridge. I always forget where she's from. It's up in that area, though. Can't remember. Emmeline Bags carries Cork Supply cork as well. It's the best. It's the best. I never have had an issue with her cork at all. It's the best quality. Straight from Portugal. Amazing customer service. Okay. So now we're working just like we did with the others. So we have our little template. We're lining it up at the top of the next card slot. Coco says hi. Folding this upwards. Holding in place with your fingers. Pulling out the template. Peeling off the paper from the tape. Cork Supply, yeah. And then stick it down. And again, I always flip it over and just double check that my card slot works well. And it's a good depth, and it is. And now with it pointing up through the top, that's where it's different than the first one. You don't want it to be pointing through the bottom or you're going to sew your stuff shut. You want it through the top and top stitch through that next line. Rinse and repeat to the top. Trail. It's Trail. That's right. Thank you. Oh, she is in BC. That's right. Close to the border, isn't it? The Alberta border. Awesome, Kim. I can say I have some Sally Tomato Cork, and Cork Supply is even better. So Sally Tomato Cork is awesome. This is even better. I'm partial to Cork Supply though. Okay. It's done, so I'm going to bring this down towards the bottom. Make it nice and tight. Go to the next line again with my template. You guys are going to have my voice in my head saying the same thing over and over again. Hold it up. Oh, awesome. Flip it up to the top. Stick it down. Double check it. Make sure it works good, and it does. And now we can top stitch with it facing to the up. Facing to the up, facing to the top. It's fun doing a wallet. I think the last wallet we did was the penny in, and it was like that was a hard one. Holy moly. I mean, I carry one now. I love it, but that was intense, that one. Tie it off. As you can see, tying off does take a little bit more time. Everywhere in BC is beautiful. I'm not partial because I am a BC girl like you, Rhonda. Even when we're on fire, we're still beautiful. All right, you got diverted through the Kootenays, didn't you, Rhonda, because the highway was closed by Golden? Did I? Oh my gosh, I made a mistake. Look it. I sewed through the wrong one. I was supposed to sew through this one. I wasn't paying attention. I top stitched through the wrong one. So I'll pull that out and do it again. See? Make mistakes when I'm not paying attention. I would have discovered that here pretty quick. Brandy. Okay, see, and I went right through. I sewed right through the paper of the next one. Silly me. Okay, let's top stitch through the right one this time, Brandy. Okay, make sure that works. It does. Now I'll top stitch through the right slot. I just jumped over one by accident. Wasn't paying attention. Easy fix. There we go. And that's why I test every single one after sewing it, because you catch your mistakes before you get too far gone. Okay, next one, pull it down. Do the garbage can template. Then we could have just done this for homework, but you know what? We have time. We can do it together. Make sure my card slot works, and it does. Top stitch through the next one. It was very close to being done, Rhonda, when I drove through there last month. Well, you were through there last month too. I went through a week after you. Hey guys, there's no birthing of this bag. That's always good. So this part is the most tedious part, I find. The rest is pretty fast. And this is the part you definitely don't want to be messing up. Because then, if your card slots don't work, it's not even a good wallet. So. Okay, next one. Pull it down. Line up with the next line. And this is my third one today that I've done the cards for. Oh, goodness. Test it out. It's good. And we know this one is completely domestic machine friendly because Nicole does this on her Juki 2010 Cube. The only thing that may make it a little tough is the tape. So if you're on a domestic machine using tape, you may want to use Dritz Wash Away Wonder tape. And if you're on a domestic, for the final construction, I think you probably will want to use glue. Because you need to make sure that the tape is going to hold it. And Dritz isn't always the strongest. Might be okay though. If you try it, let me know. Okay. Dip it down. Almost done. This one is a few more card slots because we don't have the ID window taking up one of them. You can tell my template is very, very well used. I mean, look at it. I need so many of these. I actually really enjoy making these. I think they're really fun. These are a good one if you've lost your sojo to make, I find. Check out that last one and we're good. Next. Yes, it does for sure, Kim. I was mentioning that at the beginning that if you find that you're, like I actually have glue on my needle, I can see it, but my machine powers through it. But if you notice a buildup of gunk from the double-sided tape or from the glue, just take a little alcohol swab and clean it up and then you won't have an issue. You shouldn't. Just know your sensitivities of your machines. Some machines are okay and some aren't. My Juki 2010Q was sometimes and other times it depended on the tape. Totally depended on the tape. And I found if you used a brand new needle that was sharper, it was always better too. Whoops. We're getting there. It's already 4:39. Holy, time flies when you're having fun. Okay, and you're going to see my little crease there because, or my little seam there because I had to piece together some because it wasn't the right width for me. If you find yours isn't the right width, go ahead and piece it. It works just fine. Pull her out. This is the last top stitch. I honestly, wanting to use double-sided tape to make my life easier was one of the reasons why I got this machine. Because I swear, I go through double-sided tape like I do air. I just love it so much. Okay, last top stitch. We'll take this to the table and do that last part of trimming this off. So you guys saw me make a mistake and you see how easy it is to fix it. That's good. Okay. It again. Come on. There we go. All right. So this is where we're at. And then once again, to finish this off, because we have no more card slots, but we have that tape at the top, about 1/4 of an inch or so away from the side. I'm going to fold the template up and stick it to that tape. But we're not stitching it because this will get caught in the top stitching later on. So I trim it up. I'm just going to double check to make sure my depth is good. And that last one, where did my card go? There it is. Whoops. Nope, that's not it. I lost it. There it goes. What are we doing here? Coco says hi. My neighbors are home. Okay. And it's good. Make sure it's stuck good. And go ahead and trim that back to the glue. Okay, so all of this that we just did is on page 2. And now how we did this folded line, we're going to do the same thing, and I think we're folding it at the 4th line. Let me double check. Yes, on the 4th line. So exactly like we did with this. So this is where, Rhonda, you will also want, if you're going to bevel those edges, you will bevel them as well, just along that fold line. You want to hold all of the card slots as flat as you can. Kind of make sure you're folding on that 4th line right there. I kind of look on the inside at that 4th line like this and kind of bring it together so I can see the line like so, and then just put a clip on the ends. And then you can kind of go back in and straighten everything out. You want to make sure, see how this isn't quite straight here? You want to make sure it's straight. Line it up. It should almost come to that other line, this one, the 2nd line, but not quite. Just make sure the edges are all lining up nice and straight. It's all looking good. This is where, Rhonda, you would bevel those folded edges if you're going to do it. And the rest of us are going to just go ahead and sew down that folded over edge with an 1/8 of an inch top stitch. I'm rushing through that, I know you guys are all probably still doing your card slots, but it's exactly the same thing. And we're starting to run out of time, so I want to get to what the homework would be and explain what you need to edge paint if you're going to edge paint. Not very much homework, it's just going to be fusing your deckable heavy or Peltex pieces, but I'm going to show you how to place them. Are you all going properly? Beautiful. Okay, I'll give everybody a few minutes to finish that up, and then I'll explain the last few things that we'll do for homework. This is what we got so far. And yes, these do have different orientations. The card slots are going this way for this one, the card slots are going this way for this one. That is what we want. Not too bad though, hey? You can also go ahead and double check to make sure, even with the sewing, they all fit, and they do. I made one of these in so long. Loves it. So we can put aside. Uh-oh, where did it go? What did I do with my main piece? I know I showed it. Oh, here it is. Okay. It is fun, isn't it, Rhonda? It's not a hard sew. It's a nice and fun sew. And it's fun to play with cork. We'd never play with cork or whatever you're making it with. And I'll have 2 more made for, because I have one started, one for the tutorial, because I'm making 3 today. Well, this is the 3rd. This won't be done for a couple weeks, but. Okay, and so in about 2 minutes or so, I'm going to grab all of your attention to explain what you're going to do for homework. It'll only take, well, the edge painting will take a little bit longer, but I'll explain what you're going to edge paint. If you want to edge paint, I've already done my edge painting. I did it all at once. Rhonda's done and Diane's done. So this is going to be my exterior and this is my lining. So it's double-sided. And then we're going to play with our Peltex or whatever pieces we have. I can put this away. I don't need it right now. And done. Woohoo! Look at us all going the same time. Okay, so for homework, you're going to take your exterior piece that we did the markings for. Now we have all of our deckable heavy pieces or our Peltex pieces. If yours isn't fusible, you will be using glue. Make sure not to use too much glue. You want enough to stick, or double-sided tape, but you don't want it to kind of be all bubbly on the other side. I'm going to fuse these, but the 2 narrower ones, because I can't give you the measurements, go on the edges. The wider one goes in the middle, and these 2 go in the middle there. So you're going to fuse these on, these ones, about 1/8 of an inch away from the line and from this edge. If you go right to this line, it's okay too. And it's like 1/4 of an inch away from each of the sides, okay? And then same with the opposite side. Now this is also a side we're going to be putting magnetic snaps on, but we will make it so we can put it through these pieces so it has extra stability. So you'll be fusing those on like that. This middle piece in the middle, nice and centered. And it goes about, well, I might not have cut it right, but you kind of want it centered in between these middle lines like so. And then these pieces in between these other lines. And these ones almost go line to line. Okay? And mine aren't cut super even, but you get the idea. Nice and centered. Fuse those on and let them sit overnight once you have them fused on, and then you know if they're stuck and if you have to go back in. I know with the cork I can't use steam. I still do a little bit. I kind of spritz it just a teeny tiny bit, but to stick them down. If you can use tape to hold these down if you like as well, but it makes it really nice and stiff. Let me show you on the tutorial one. So this is my tutorial one here. And you can see that's them all fused on, and it makes it, you can see how it starts getting that rounded shape. You can see how that's what's going to make the shape of the wallet. See how perfect that is? That's the exterior, and it just shapes everything. Like these are the bottom and the top. It's brilliant. So yeah. So that's homework. So make sure you fuse those on. Let them set overnight in case you need to fuse some more. Now, if you're going to be doing edge painting, this little piece here, what this is we will be putting it on next week. And I didn't edge paint this one, but I wish I had. So that's what the little connector pieces are. So all I did, I just edge painted the two long sides. The short sides are going to get tucked under, so you don't need to worry about that, but it just gives a nice finished line for that. So yeah, for the little connector piece, you can edge paint the two longer sides. That black cork with the rainbow speckle, that's from Cork Supply too. Now this is now I can't remember if I do these different than her or not. Let me see what she cuts out. This is for the wristlet. I think she does it the same way as me. I think. Yeah, she does. So the way we're going to be doing this wristlet is we're going to be folding it into the center. So one long raw edge is going to be covered, but one isn't. So, and the ends aren't. So what I did was I just edge painted one of the long sides and both of the short sides, and I left the other long edge unpainted because it's going to be tucked into the folds anyways. So those are two things to edge paint if you're going to edge paint. And of course in the end, you can see this one's all edge painted. If you want to edge paint everything else at the end. I probably was edge painting this one in my edge painting video, I bet. My edge painting tutorial, I was making Triskeles in it. So yeah, that's it for homework. It's not that much. I already edge painted everything. I'm ahead of the game already. So yeah. Any questions about anything? We did the majority of all of the work today. We got through it all. Next week, we will be doing this part. We'll be doing this. And we will be doing the zipper pouch. And the magnetic snaps. And you know what? There is a really good chance we may get through the whole thing next week. We will see how far we get. Because really, those card slots are the hardest part. So this may only be a 2-class wallet. We will see how far we get. We were all really good and we were all finished almost right on time with each other today. So that worked good. And the reason you have 2 D-rings is so you can have the wristlet on either side. So yeah. And then again, I have a branding machine for my cork. So I'm not putting a nameplate on. So if you're going to be doing a nameplate, decide where you want to do it. It's not too late if you wanted to do your nameplate in the same little area there. It's not too late to do it. Where did I do it? Okay. All you have to do is open this, pull this back, and then put it right there if you wanted to, because we haven't finished off the layers. Just make sure you're not going through your card slots. So yeah. That branding iron cost me like $300 and I only use it for cork. Crazy. Crazy. Oh, I use it for leather too. Any questions? That was a pretty good class. We used up the whole hour. I'm impressed. So yeah, there's a good chance we may get it all done next week. Or else we will do the lining next week, like the rest of it, and then finish it up the following week. We'll see how we're doing at that point. So I won't do the edge painting in the class because I know most people don't do edge painting, but of course I do have a tutorial on how to edge paint, and I was actually edge painting Triskele wallets in that tutorial. So that works out really good. I'm so happy that Nicole is allowing me to do her tutorials. I was super pleased when she told me I could. So yay. Any questions at all before we call it a night? Again, thank you, Frankie, for donating to the coffee fund. It's all going in to save for subscriptions for next year currently, for like my OBS program and my StreamYard and all of that, so I can do all the YouTube stuff and all of the making the videos as they are. Kim, if you need help at all, just reach out. We can do it together. Same with you, Frankie. When you start making yours, just reach out, or anybody that is watching this after the fact. All my contact information is down below, so, or it will be. I don't know if it is right now, but I will be updating the description tomorrow once I have the tutorial done. All right, everybody, I'm gonna go get supper started. Thanks again for joining us. This was a really fun class. It's nice to have a nice and fun sew, that's for sure. And to be playing with different textiles, it's awesome to play with some cork. Haven't done it in so long. All right, yeah, so reach out to me if you need any help. I think we're all done pretty good, but those that haven't started it yet, definitely do reach out no matter when you're watching this. All right, that's all the bonus of membership is you get me at your beck and call. So anyways, I'll catch you guys later. I'll see most of you on Thursday for Alexandra. I should have the cutting tutorial done by Thursday morning, and I will probably do the actual sewing tutorial over the weekend. I only have one craft fair this weekend. So anyways, good night, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.